Hi, hello, g'day, kia ora, welcome to the studio. I wasn't going to make anything to put my scraps in, but having made a couple of the prompts, or completed a couple of the prompts I should say, I did find it a bit difficult, and well, not so much difficult, it was annoying more than difficult, to go through my scraps as I currently have them, which is in the box or courier bag that they arrived in. So today I had a delivery from a local art shop, and I've taken the box and cut it in half. So I've cut it on an angle. It was together like this, and I've just done a line on the side, straight across the front and back, and then of course the opposite angle on the side. So I now have two boxes that are exactly the same. We've got a lower front and a higher back, and I'm hoping that's going to be big enough. It will at least be a starting point. So what I'm going to do now is cover the edges and generally make it look pretty. So I've pulled out my collage glue that I've got, and I've done a top up. So I've made this a little bit thinner than what I normally do, so I may need to put some more glue in there. So this is, it's probably closer to maybe 60% glue, 40% water, whereas I normally have a wee bit higher glue content, but I've used up all of the Elmer's school glue that I had, and we'll just have to wing it as we go. So that's ready to go. So I've got a selection of book pages, including some that I've done some dyeing on that I still want to do more work on. So maybe I'll put them on and just to add a bit of colour. Well, it's one of those things where I'm just going to wing it as usual. But I am going to use sort of larger pieces rather than tear them into a whole lot of small bits. Just because I want to get this done pretty quickly. So I'm just making sure these are all... Yep, these all seem to be torn apart. That's okay. What I'll start with is going over the edges. And for that, I might use some of these pages that I have started to use. We're going to do the inside and the out. And just put stuff where it goes. Oops, that's a bit much glue. The only thing I've done is I have taped down the inside bottom of the boxes, just to make sure that they're not going to lift up. Other than that, all I did was cut them in half, and then I'm gluing underneath and over the top. And then we go. just going to, oops, if we get torn apart, that's okay, I can live with that. And I've got my craft mat down for a reason, because I'm already spilling glue. And I know it's only going to get worse. Now to start this off, I'm just wanting to make sure I get over the edges, the full fronts and down to the bottom, and like the sides I'll get on the next round of papering. At the moment it's just about covering this cut edge. Okay, that still has quite a way to dry, but it is dry enough for me to put kind of the next layer on, which is just going to be to bring it over this edge and around these edges, so that at least we've got kind of the outside covered. And I just need to cover my address as well while I'm at it, and then I'll sit that upside down so that it can dry, and then the last thing we'll do is the inside, and after that it'll be ready for decorating. Okay, so our boxes have had a couple of hours in the sun, and they are probably a good 90 to 95% dry, and they are much firmer, so much firmer. So now we're going to put something on the inside to cover that, and then we're going to decorate. So let's start with one of these. We've got our collage paste. How much have we got left? Oh, yep, we've still got a bit there. So I'm just going to give it a bit of a stir. Now, put you there. What I'm looking at is whether, hang on, you have to go over there too, whether one sheet will be enough. So let's just try. There we go. Now, let's see if we can keep it like that and glue it in. Three places there that need fixing, that's okay. A couple of these leftover scraps. Now what I want is, and I'm just going to use my ruler for, whoops, use my shorter ruler because it's easier to handle. So I want to tear this into squarish bits. Alright. Now this is an old trick I've learned. So what you do is you fold this in half and in half. So you end up with quarters. Then you take a pair of scissors and you cut one side to the middle. And what we're going to do is, let's just fold that one the other way. Well, we'll do it that way because then there's a bit of colour. Is we're going to cross 2 quarters over, and that gives us a corner. Okay, so there's our bit. We're going to cross 2 over, and that gives us like half a cube. So let's try that one again. So we're going to glue the crossover bit. And then we need to, should have done this bit first, back, bottom, side. Then we'll put the crossover bit on the bottom and then glue it into place. Nice, very nice. Okay, so these have dried overnight, so they are well and truly dry. So what I'm going to do now is wrap them in some pattern paper just as my top layer. So I have done a really rough measurement of what I need, and so far I've kind of like put it over and said, yep, that's going to go from underneath, around and over the top to there. The side, how much do I need to do the same, and this side as well. So we should have enough to get there, and then I'll just need to put a bit in the middle to cover the bottom. So I just need to now work out how much I need to cover the back. So I'm doing here and roughly, so if I go sort of in line with that 5, or this basically this fold line here, so I'm just going to trim up here, and that should be enough for what we need. And then, so I'll do this one, and then I'll do exactly the same for the second, and then this leftover bit will be the bit that covers inside here. So I know that I've got to line up pretty much with that fold there, and they're pretty much the same height there. Okay, so to adhere the pattern paper in place, I have some Americana decoupage glue and sealer. I've had this a while, so good time to use it. Just gonna pour it into my paint pellet here, rather than try and use it out of the bottle. Oops, not sure if I was supposed to shake it or not. Better do that. Right. So I'm just going to spread this over the bottom first. No, it's still quite, no, it's quite fluid. It is a lot thicker than what we used for the first layer. So that's good. Should give us a nice good seal as well. Right. So there we go. That's our first layer. Shift you out of the way. Once again, my desk isn't big enough. Now we want to make sure we don't have that tucked underneath. We don't want any dried glue bits under there. And here is our position about there. So I will do the top coat afterwards. Just kind of thinking ahead. I will come in from the side, which is around about here. And then we need to do the same from the other side without spilling our glue everywhere. And then we'll do the back bit as well, exactly the same. And this one too. And this is either going to go right or horribly wrong, but we'll find out. Okay, so let us do the sides first. Okay, so these are pretty dry. I'll probably leave them overnight just to make sure, like in these corners, they're still a wee bit tacky, and I don't want to put anything in them. But what I've done is I've printed off the two images And these were the pockets in the freebie from, this one was from Luise, this was from Barbara. Now I've just done a clip of them from the pages. I didn't want to reprint them fully, and so the quality isn't quite as good, but that's my bad for doing that. But I still think that they're okay, and given their scrap bins, that's not neither here nor there as far as I'm concerned. This was there was a little wee pocket here, but I've trimmed that off on both of them because they weren't going to fit otherwise. So these will sit on here. So we've got one and then the other. So I was just contemplating whether I want to glue them in place or use brads to hold them on. So I've cut them out, rounded the corners like I did with my folder for the prompt list, and then I've gone around the outside with ground espresso distress ink, and I think I'm just going to stick these on, to be honest. So I will do that with multi-matte medium, just because I'm not sure if ordinary glue would stick to the decoupage glue that we used. And I'm just going around the outside, doing a pretty thin line, but just making sure in particular that I get the corners, and then we'll do a little bit across the middle, and then just put them on, and I'm just eyeballing. So that's one, and we've just got a little bit of that medium coming out. So I think they look pretty cool on there. So that's one. And then two. Just making sure I've got them. We've got the glue where I need it, or matte medium where I need it. And then this one about there, again eyeballing. So I might actually stand these on their ends to make sure we've got good adhesion on there and let them dry. But I really like the way that these have turned out. I think they look really cool. I love the it's like a semi-gloss finish. To be honest, I think it was like that decoupage is like a gloss, but I think it's not like ultra glossy. I really love these. Love, like, even with the bits of dyed paper underneath, looks really cool. The pattern over the top looks awesome. And yeah, these, I mean, they're not fabric like Barbara and Luise have made, but I mean, given that I'd made my fabric journals, I wanted something like this, and I prefer sturdy containers like this. I'm sorry, fabric containers like that flopping around would just annoy me too much. Hopefully these are going to be big enough for my scraps. If not, I might have to do something about sticking something in the back that's a little bit taller. That was my only concern, but you know, beggars can't be choosers when it comes to like free boxes coming through the mail. So I will include a couple of photos at the end of these all stacked up with the scraps in them once they're dry. But for now, thank you for joining me. I hope you are going to try something like this of your own. Doesn't necessarily need to be for Dephemerember, because I know a lot of people are making the fabric baskets. Be different, be daring, use what you've got, and I'll see you in the next video back in the studio. Bye for now.